For more reaction, let's bring in former Assistant Secretary of Education for Civil Rights and the chairman of the Brandeis Center, Kenneth L. Marcus. Also with us, the national president of the Zionist, Morton, Klein. And back with us, our special guest, Doug Burns. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us.
Good to be with you.
So, Morton, let's start off with you first. UPenn's president, Liz McGill, she was also testifying on the Hill. And, of course, she didn't do much better. She was smirking and everything. And then she tried to clean up her mess afterwards, and she issued an apology. Take a look.
There was a moment during yesterday's congressional hearing on anti-Semitism when I was asked if a call for the genocide of Jewish people on our campus would violate our policies. In that moment, I was focused on our university's longstanding policies aligned with the U.S. Constitution, which say that speech alone is not punishable. I was not focused on, but I should have been, the irrefutable fact that a call for genocide of Jewish people is a call for some of the most terrible violence human beings can perpetrate. I want to be clear. A call for genocide of Jewish people is threatening.
Well, too little, too late. She's now been forced to step down, but she's still staying on as a faculty member. A Board of Trustees person has also been forced to resign, of course, because $100 million donation, right? It was pulled. Morton, do you think more universities will follow that anti-Semitism, calls for violence against Jewish people should absolutely not be tolerated?
This does send a message of sorts that this type of language should never be tolerated. In fact, the First Amendment doesn't protect support for terrorism. So she doesn't even know what she's talking about legally. But my fear is even though she's stepping down, and even if the others leave, that doesn't end the problem. The biggest problem is we have offices at almost all of these major universities of divestment, equity, and inclusion, DEI, which falsely teaches that white people are oppressors of people of color, and Jews and Israelis are considered white people. So until this type of ugly, woke DEI is eliminated from the schools, the offices are closed, you're going to continue to have these sorts of problems. I might add, these students violate U.S. law. The 1996 Terrorism Act says it is illegal to provide material support to foreign terrorist organizations.
Right.
Hamas is a foreign terrorist organization. They are supporting them. These students should be expelled and arrested for violating U.S. law.
Excellent point there. Kenneth, do you think she would have been forced to step down had it not been for that $100 million donation being pulled?
Well, the key development was the congressional interest. I think that all three presidents were embarrassed, and they embarrassed their institutions. Certainly that $100 million donation was influential, but these institutions are losing a lot more than that. They're losing many donations. They're losing the trust and confidence of their trustee, their alumni, their students. But it's more than just a question of what the consequences are. My goodness, I think that what has been exposed is the utter immorality of these administrations. And my hope is that this will send a message to university presidents all around the country that if they don't want to be the next one to suffer Liz McGill's fate, they need to protect Jewish students to the same extent as they protect every other student on their campus.
Absolutely. We've got limited time. We're going to be interviewing Governor DeSantis next of Florida. But Doug, can you imagine if they replace the word blacks with Jews, right? Would that be tolerated?
Well, the tremendous double standards, and I would just amplify Morton's point, which is when speech morphs into specific calls for specific violence, it's not protected speech under the First Amendment.
Right, and you're a prosecutor, so you know these kids could be held accountable
Absolutely.
under the law.
Yes.
And so could these people in the streets.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.
My pleasure.